Begin.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna call this, is it special work session? I'm sorry, I'm not in board docs yet. For the tax rate to order today, September 15th, 2022 at 6:33 p.m. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
Move to approve.
The agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending our 2022 tax year fiscal 23 tax rate hearing. I will go through this. So we'll start with our assessed valuations. Tax rates are directly dependent on the assessed valuations in the community. So our residential assessed valuation, being a non-assessment year, is actually down 3.9 million or 1.6 from our prior reassessment, which was 2021. Commercial AV is down about 6 million. However, personal property is up 10 million or 27% from the prior reassessment. And merchants and manufacturing is decreased slightly at 319,000. So here is the totals of our residential real estate assessed valuation, along with the TIF values. We'll hit those TIFs in just a moment. But on the residential side, we add 559,000 to our AV for a net of 247,284,360. Commercial real estate right now, we have about $17.7 million deducted from our AV that's in TIF. That's for a net of a little over $86 million for a total assessed valuation of $330.3 million on real estate. Personal property totals, including regular and manufacturer, is $385,210,480. These are the TIFs that we currently have on the books, along with the CIDs. We have the Deer Creek, of course. There's two segments there. That's both a TIF and a CID, which is a community improvement district. We have the Cambridge Commons. See when that one will sunset. We have the Hanley Road South. On the Richmond Heights side, we have Menards. That one sunsets in 2037 if it goes the full 21 years. Hadley Township North has been completed, and the Hadley Township South, or QT, is in 2029. So we do have some of these that are nearing an end, a couple of long-term ones, and depending on what developments come back through, decide to set up shop in our area, we'll determine if there are any new ones. I will say too, the decrease in the assessed valuation, we do have a couple of abatements that have been approved. The most notable one in Maplewood, the City Council in Maplewood increased the abatement cap from 12 to 15 million on the Hanley Station, the Sun and Station, the Sun and Station phase 2 apartments. It looks like there's potentially a phase 3 and also maybe a commercial development heading that way as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things are adjusted as we move into the next few years. And then over on the Richmond Heights side, we do have an abatement that is a 10-year cap with pilots, payments in lieu of taxes to Richmond Heights on the Altair, that big townhouse or apartment, condo, whatever they're referring to that as. That's also an abatement on the Richmond Heights side. Those all affect the amount of assessed valuation that we can tax. So here's some comparisons here. I won't read these numbers to you again, but essentially in the opening slide, I talked about the differences. So now we get to the rates. So the current year rates on the residential side, 3.8555. On the commercial side is 4.6146. That does include a 0.1555 cent recoupment, remembering that statute allows us to go back and recoup lost revenue due to Board of Equalization decisions that are made as companies or residents protest their taxes. And as those cases are settled, we're able to go back and recoup that lost revenue. Personal property remains relatively stable at 5.4658. Debt service remains unchanged at $1.35. Here's a year-over-year comparison. It's interesting, as assessed valuations go down, the tax rates go up. As the assessed valuations go up, the tax rates go down. We are limited on the amount of revenue that we can realize as a result of assessed valuations based on Hancock 2. One of the factors that's important to note this year is that CPI is one of the factors. It's the lesser of CPI growth, or 5%. And this year, CPI was 7%. So we're capped at 5. So 5% is the actual maximum amount that we would be able to realize as an increase in tax and revenue. But as our assessed valuations went down, you can see that our residential rates went up. Also, one thing to note is last year we did have a residential recoupment of about 6.5 cents or so. So that fell away as we recouped that lost revenue. Commercial rate, even with the recoupment from last year and the recoupment that we've added this year, we're still only increasing just under 2 cents. Personal property remains unchanged. And of course, the blended rate that the rest of the state and along with DESI uses, as opposed to the multi-rate that we use, is 9 cents above where we were last year. Debt service again remains unchanged. This is a historical look going all the way back to tax year 2016. So you can see how our rates have shifted between 2018, 2019. Remember, 2019 was a reassessment year. You can see the drastic shift. What is that, 62-ish, 61 cents on a reduction there on the tax rate on the residential side. That's directly related to the nearly 23% increase on assessed valuation on the residential side. That was the huge year where everybody's property values skyrocketed. That was a St. Louis County trend. We were expecting an increase, but we weren't expecting that much of an increase. So it was pretty incredible. And then we again increased property values at the reassessment year of 21. So those are the most dramatic shifts you'll see. Okay, let's talk revenue. So the tax rates that I'm recommending for the tax year 22, fiscal year 23 should generate somewhere in the neighborhood of $15.8 million on the operations side and about $5 million on the debt service side for a total of $20.9 million. When we do the budget, we have to do so with incomplete information from the assessor's office and also the collector. So we do the best we can with the numbers that we have on hand. I budgeted 5.5 on the operations side, 4.9 on the debt service side. We got pretty close. If assuming a 98% collection rate on real estate, that should net us $369,000 more than what we had initially budgeted when we started this fiscal year in July. So as the tax receipts begin coming in December, we'll probably let this ride on the budget revenue side right now. And as we get closer, we'll adjust that more toward what we're expecting to get. What are your questions?
Thank you, Chris, for all your hard work and putting that together.
You're quite welcome. Oh, one last thing I did want to mention. I thought we were going to be the first ones out of the gate this year, it just being the middle of the month, getting these tax rate hearings done, but Clayton beat us. They had theirs on the 7th. I don't know how he did that. Anyway, their residential rate, I always like to show you the rates, but I don't have any because it looks like we're number 2. So we're runner up, I guess. 4.03 cents on their residential side, 4.8 on their commercial side, and 4.55 on their personal property side, just as an anecdotal note there. Next steps are to, I do need our president and our secretary to sign the estimate of local taxes that I need to send into the collector, as well as our resolution. These rates aren't due until October 1st, and I will be out of town, well, out of the district next week. But I'll leave these documents here with Kat, so if the two of you decide to come in, you have those to sign. Sooner the better. I'd like to get our certification letter from the auditor well before, in the event that something is askew and we need to make a correction.
Okay, no problem. Did anybody else have any questions or comments?
I just want to thank Chris publicly, because this was a tight ask for the timeline. Normally, if you can recall, they're typically held at the end of the month, but due to the wonderful commitment of our board, I did not want to add yet an additional meeting. So he crunched the numbers and got it done. So just want to say thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
much appreciated.
You're
Yeah.
quite welcome. I am nothing if not for my team. So I've got a great group of folks behind me here that support me every day. So they helped me get this one over the line.
Great. Okay, so action items, approval of tax rate. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the tax rates for 2022 as 3.8555 for residential real estate, 4.6146 for commercial real estate, 5.4658 for personal property, and 1.3500 for debt service, to be allocated by the blended rate by fund as 4.1420 to the incidental fund, 0.1000 to the capital projects fund, and 1.3500 to the debt service fund.
Thank you, Annie. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rachel. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Can I get a
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? See you guys in a few minutes.